it's easier for you to say it, harder for you to put words down on
To write it,
paper.
yeah.
And so let me put a couple of those ideas in here. Um, you typically don't want to go against what they are requiring you to do. So you'd want to maybe say some things like, yes, um, it's challenging to write compared to speaking. Um, and this is now just some feedback from me. You tend to do really well verbally answering questions completely, but the writing is very different if I ask for a written answer. So you might just say that was uh, that was challenging for you. So we're looking for like
Yeah.
2 to 3 sentences, uh, where you did say, yeah, I was able to stay within the time limit, but I really struggled to write compared to speaking, something like that.
All right. All right, here's what I wrote.
This is where maybe Grammarly is going to really help out here,
Yeah, I'll go
because
put this in a Google Doc real quick and get it Grammarly to check it out once.
because I know, for example, like you probably should say comma. Yes, I was able to stay within 30-minute time limit. It's time for me to write this essay because I could answer the question while speaking, but when it comes to writing, my mind becomes blank and I can't think of anything. I can answer questions. So this one's kind of a repeat of the previous one. It doesn't like this. I can answer the question verbally. That's kind of a repeating the previous sentence.
Yeah.
So I mean I'm okay with it like this, where I'm okay with what's highlighted and not
Okay.
necessarily adding this. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Now
it's
there's
fine.
also there's also really close like run-on sentence. It was a challenge for me to write this essay because I could answer the question while speaking, but when it comes to writing, my mind becomes blank and I can't think of anything. It's really close, but I think it's okay. I mean, we could write it differently, but that's good. All right. So the next question here, how your teacher wants you to answer it is yes, you would have done something differently. You would have um, formulated a thesis statement. You would have written an outline. Okay. you would develop transitions. We gotta be careful there between paragraphs. So some of the stuff goes in the you had more time to write the essay. Would you have done anything differently? Time to plan ahead. Okay. Let's focus on these three. This is kind of what I think your teacher wants you to say. You know, the how important a thesis is, an outline to guide, sort of guide the writing, something like that. So could you give me two or three sentences again for that?
Yeah. Right. Also, when you typed out the written outline guide the writing, like, what does that mean again? Like,
An outline helps to guide your writing by uh, organizing your thoughts
okay.
rather than just writing whatever comes into your brain. You develop ideas a little differently when it's not forced into a time setting.
All right, so like what I just typed, would it work?
Take a look. All right, so I'm reading it now. If I had more time to plan ahead, oh, no, I would have made a better formulated thesis statement. So I would have, maybe we're gonna say, would have formulated a better thesis statement.
Mm-hmm.
I would also have started with an outline to help organize my thoughts. Are you okay with how that is
Yes.
written and reads? Okay. Okay. So we probably this one's gonna be more. We need more information for this next one. If you had more time to write the essay, would you have done anything differently? So there's actually a lot more than this. Uh, y- you would typically have had three body paragraphs instead of two.
Mm-hmm.
You would develop transitions between paragraphs. You would more fully develop the main ideas to relate back to the thesis.
Okay.
Um, Proofread. So more time. I keep doing that. More time for grammar, punctuation, spelling, mistakes to be corrected. These are just all things that they they typically want to see. Um, what I know I'm maybe I shouldn't be giving you all the answers, but maybe there's some other things that come to mind for you. Like what what do you think? Maybe answering it this way is what would have been easier if you had more time?
Um, I'm not sure.
Well, does more time help you write?
Yeah, no, yeah, kind of.
Okay. Well, that's the question we're trying to answer is what would have helped you? Um, I mean, you could go as far as to say that you may have considered another topic because you didn't have enough information for this one. But
Yeah,
once you're sort of committed to writing on something, it's hard to then, decommit when it's timed.
yeah, basically.
So here these are some things that I would recommend putting down. You're going to need more sentence this time for this. So go ahead and give that a try, please, and let me know what you
Okay.
come up with.
All right, here's what I wrote.
All right, let me take a look here. All right, if I had more time to write the essay, comma, I would have made, I would have maybe say included 3 body paragraphs instead of 2. Um, so typically when the numbers are less than 100, you write them out as words.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you have to be careful here and develop relate and transitions between. So one of the things I think you're struggling with and is really you really want to have one thought per sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is okay, one way to write is to just one thought per sentence. My main idea would be more developed so it can relate back to the thesis. So remember your main ideas are plural. Just really need to correct it. Topics, it doesn't have a lot of issues. Yeah. Um, maybe putting this next sounds a little better, kind of just to break it up. I would have also another considered a different topic since I didn't have a lot of information for this one. Um, but you could say, however, having more time would have allowed me to um, we want to say include more main ideas to relate back to the thesis
Mm-hmm. Got it.
and to including more topics that relate back to the thesis. Okay. And then you could say, finally, comma, I would have taken more time to proofread for. Okay. So one of the ways you could one thing you could address here is you could say you could have if you had more time to proofread at your essay, what would you have done differently? I think you could say things like read it out loud, ask a parent to read it backwards,
Read
and
it
you
backwards.
yeah, I know it sounds weird, but like corrected be to need that mistakes. Sometimes that helps you to notice things. It's truly uh, a it's one that they emphasize. So they were just feeding back the teacher. Sometimes you notice something. Um, well, what this all does is it helps the readability, flow, and connection in the essay. I mean, truly, like what we're doing here is just giving the teacher the stock answers because that's what they want.
Got it.
Um, I mean, and I really hope that he doesn't put back and say, but what would you have done differently in your essay? Which I can see, but I don't know. Sort of guessing what they want here.
Mm-hmm.
So give me a couple of sentences. These are my suggestions. I mean, you're welcome to include that, but that's kind of what they're looking for when they ask you what you would have done differently.
Okay. All right.
Take a look here. Okay, so I like the first part here. I don't think you've sort of connected the second part, and it's a really long sentence. If I had more time to read my essay, comma, kind of missing that over and over, and I would have read out loud, comma, asked a friend. So really, she's going to push back and say it's a list. Let's put a semicolon in there and read it backwards. Now, why are you doing all this? Well, you would maybe even just say that these are some techniques that could help. You're welcome to reuse these words, but the way you had it written doesn't really connect it the way it should. Um, so could you give that another shot for writing another sentence, please?
All right. So you just want me to fix the last sentence and stuff?
Well, you only had one sentence, and your sentence was getting to be a run on. It's okay now. What I
Okay.
need is something that talks about like, well, why would you do all this? Like, what is proofreading it, reading it out loud? Like, what does any of that do to help?
All
And
right.
that's where you talk about, well, you maybe make the essay more readable, flow better, connect.
Here's what I wrote. I don't think it makes sense.
So I think we gotta try to do this differently. You're trying to say that these I don't know, call them like they're not really approaches, but these refers to back to them would improve and you just had to include this list. Now, connection is connection of ideas back to the thesis in the essay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is probably sufficient. Let's make sure that that's everything that she wanted. Let me know if any questions come up.
All right.
Thanks, emoji, Melissa. All right. So I feel like that probably will do it for that as far as like what the teacher wants. So have we done the next English lesson after this one? Lesson
Yeah, it was
7?
lesson 7, but I wasn't able to submit part 1 of it because those revisions. So I get
Yeah.
to submit part 1 today, and once she gives us the clear, we can work on the Shining essay. We did lesson 8. I think we also did lesson 9, but I don't know if we did lesson 10.
Looks like you got a check in here that you may want to knock out
Oh,
for
yeah, I can
English.
do the check-in. I will do that in a second.
All right.
Mm. I'm almost done, by the way.
Yeah, take your time. We really can't proceed looking at the course, so.
Just making sure my answers are like good.
I think the more so they're just looking for completion. Yeah, your teacher clearly is looking at the responses you give her when you submit things like we just did today. Uh, but yep, let me know when you're
Okay.
done.
All right, there we go. I finished. Yay.
Excellent. Okay, let's take a look here. I'm gonna so what we did here is we did the response to lesson 6. And like you said, lesson 7, I think
Yeah, we
you,
already did the part one of lesson 7.
yeah. And then I guess right part 2 at some point after she responds. So
Yeah. I know we did lesson 8 and lesson 9, but I don't know if we did lesson 10.
yeah, I mean, uh, well, yeah, I can look at it real quick. Until we get some like traction with the instructor, I just be careful not to do too much here. Um, all right. All right. Your essay should be between 500 and 650 words long. Use this information. Okay. Some students have background. So we could do this, or we can go to physical science. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we did 8, we did 9. I mean, that's probably going to be this trend here. We're ahead, but then we got to go back and fix and
Yeah.
so on.
Let's just do lesson 10.
Okay,
Let's just do it. I don't feel like doing physical science today, that's why.
understood. All right. So let's start by looking at these topics here. Um, let me get a new document going. Okay. Some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent that is so meaningful that they believe their application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, then please share your story. So that's, if you remember when you were writing your application essay, I try to emphasize like some of the things that were very novel about you, like figure skating, wanting to live in a castle. This would be you would do this if it was even more extreme, like I don't know. I mean, like Jim Carrey, he worked as a janitor in high school and lived out of a van. That's pretty compelling.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of thing, most people do not fall into that category, even though they might think like, oh, I'm really special and different and unique. Like you are, but you aren't. You are unique and special, but you aren't. Like everyone is that way too. Um, okay. Second one is the typical overcoming a challenge, a setback, a failure. So, falling down on the ice and getting back up again. We kind of did that with your desire to want to become a marine biologist. Like you were in the ocean and you didn't like the fish, and but then you later feel like you fell in love with the fish, and that's kind of that. Maybe a personal tragedy in your life, something in your family, or something that's happened. That would be
Mm-hmm.
number two. Number three is to reflect on a time when you challenged a belief. So it's like you felt really strongly about, some issue and you took a stand and people didn't like you for it or they did like you for it and you know you walked out on school or you walked out on a group or your friends said, "Oh, we always do it this way." And you're like, "No, I'm not going to do it this way anymore." And something like that. Uh, the next one here is describe a problem you've solved or a problem you'd like to solve. It can be intellectual challenge, a research query, an ethical dilemma. So, how would you solve um, how would you get peace in the Middle East? That's kind of the that one. That would be a really challenging problem. How would you eliminate waste in the ocean? How would you remove the trash that's in space? How would you provide enough food for everyone so that no one ever has to go hungry again? How would prevent black cats from being, October, they're kind of picked on black cats. Um, that depends on what's important to you. So that's
Yeah.
more like theoretical out there question. No question. Um,
No question. Yeah.
okay. So like three is more like something you did, and four is more like something you would like to do.
Yeah.
Five would be an accomplishment event, that the time you won the, junior world figure skating championship and, your great accomplishment, achievement, something like
Mm.
that. Um, Six, describe a topic that you find so engaging that makes you lose all track of time. Let's say let's say it's like you go out for hikes and you don't even know what time it is, or when you're out, feeding the homeless or something like that. Like we want to build something up here. So that's the quick rundown. Um, we'll go through it again in 10 minutes or see if we can find something to start with. But let's take a short break and I'll see you back in about 10 minutes.
All right, see you in 10 minutes.
All right, bye now.